Hey, what's up, big dreamers? Your lady, Vitamin Katie, is here. Today, I'm going over 10 steps to intuitive eating to teach you how to experience food freedom and to really trust yourself around food. And this is so important because I have a lot of clients who them overthinking around food is actually hindering their ability to accomplish their goals and leads to a restrict and binge cycle, which just keeps them going on this cycle of not getting to where they need to go. And what this is really all about is trust and focusing on something else other than food and just being excited about this life. So I'm really excited to dive into this video. I am a registered dietitian. I have a master's degree in human nutrition. And I just really quick announcement, my retreat recipes and mindset practices ebook is free on my website. So if you want to download that ebook, go to www.vitaminkatie.com. It's got some of my favorite recipes on there. You are going to absolutely love it. The mindset practices are really, really life-changing. And they actually go pretty hand in hand with what I'm going to be talking about today. And I do apologize. I'm working on a lot of projects. So I figured I'm just going to go live. And I've got some notes on my phone. And I really think this is going to help everybody out there. You're going to get something out of this talk. So when it comes to really trusting yourself and figuring out, okay, why can that slim person eat whatever they want and I can't? It does come down to a lot of different things. And when it comes to intuitive eating and really trusting ourselves around food, my first recommendation is starting out with some structure. So it's a little bit difficult to really trust ourselves around food if we have our intuitive antenna is really clouded with maybe we've been eating a lot of highly processed foods that are literally designed to make us crave more. So things like potato chips, things that are really salty, things that have a lot of concentrated sweetness or saltiness or any kind of flavor, those foods are designed to make us crave more. So when it comes to intuitive eating, people are going to be like, well, intuitively, I want to eat the entire box of cupcakes or the entire bag of chips because like it's literally designed to make us crave more. And with that said, having some structure at first around eating a wholesome diet, drinking plenty of water, moving our bodies. And these guidelines that I'm talking about, I do recommend my clients eat 5 food groups generally per meal. So these food groups are looking like whole grains, pulses like beans and legumes, as well as vegetables, fruits, and then healthy fats. Having a balanced meal. Now, that means like instead of eating an entire pizza or like 4 pieces of pizza for a meal, maybe have 1 or 2 slices of pizza and then think about, okay, how can I make that more balanced? How can I incorporate different food groups in there to get a wide variety of different nutrients? So maybe you could have a salad on the side, some steamed broccoli on the side, some beans on the side. You know what I mean? Really figuring out ways to piece in the healthier foods to make a more complete meal so that we can start getting our needs met and feeling more calm and balanced and get that fiber in. And it'll allow us to start figuring out. So with this structure that I'm talking about, it's so important to notice. So once we start adding in healthier foods or foods that are just a wide variety of nutrients, once we're adding those in to really make sure we're getting all the nutrients we need, because really that's what it comes down to, you know, like pizza is fine, like whatever. I'm not going to say that anything is necessarily horrible or fantastic. It's just a matter of, are you getting your needs met on the day to day? Like, and when I say needs met, are you getting in enough vitamin E, vitamin A, antioxidants, fiber, these things so that you can feel your best? And are you overeating things that are allowing you to feel really good? Or maybe these things are making you feel really sluggish, leading to an energy spike and crash. And the number one thing is to notice. So after we eat, how do you feel? How do you feel? I recommend putting some structure into place. I recommend drinking plenty of water in the morning. Maybe this includes some type of intermittent fast. So instead of just eating 24/7, all hours of the day and night, after dinner, waiting about 12 hours before eating breakfast, 12 or 14 hours before eating breakfast to really notice what it feels like to be hungry. And then whatever you eat for breakfast, notice that, how does that make you feel afterwards? Were you satisfied and grounded and calm throughout the day? Did you have a spike and a crash? Did you need coffee? So, around this structure that is really, really important to set up, I invite you to notice how it makes you feel, okay? And with this structure, yeah, moving your body at least 30 minutes of some kind of movement most days of the week is going to really help to be intuitive and to notice your hunger and fullness cues. Yeah? Okay, so the second thing I want to mention, which is actually probably going to surprise a lot of people out there, people who have binge eating situations, a lot of my clients, they're really concerned because they think that they enjoy food too much. And I actually want to take a step back and say, is it possible that you're not enjoying food enough? Is it possible that maybe it'd be a good idea to really enjoy every single bite of the food and really savor how it tastes and allow it to be a whole experience, just appreciating all of the different flavors that came together and eating more slowly. So, when it comes to trusting ourselves around food and being able to eat whatever we want, whenever we want, it's important that we actually truly enjoy our food when we eat it. Okay, so sit with that. That's some food for thought. And this is important before I move on, removing distractions. And this is so interesting because many students, many people who are really busy, maybe they'll be answering emails while they're eating or scrolling on Instagram while they're eating. It is also possible to be distracted by our own thoughts while we're eating. So for me, I'll sit down to eat something really good and I'm going to be like, okay, I'm just going to be present with this. I'm going to actually fully enjoy this. Like, I worked hard to make this. I'm so excited to fully enjoy it. And I'll sit down to eat it. And after like the first couple of bites, all of a sudden I'm thinking about things to do later. I'm thinking about what this text said earlier. I'm thinking about, and then my food is gone. And I'm like, where'd my food go? I was thinking about other things. So just because you're not necessarily watching TV while you eat, you can still be distracted by your own thoughts. And I invite you to catch yourself with that and pull back the reins. And like when that starts to happen, it's a practice for me to be like, whoa, like, okay, that thought, maybe I'll write it down, maybe something. And I trust that I can get back to that later and just enjoy the food. Now, granted, is this always possible? Is it always 100% necessary to 100% of the time be extremely present with your food while you're eating it? Not necessarily. It's totally cool if you're in the middle of working on a project and you're hungry and you need to eat something and you need to do a project. I invite you to just take a deep breath and acknowledge the food, maybe like, a few times while you're eating it. Just like slow down a little bit. I'm not asking you to completely like take 3 hours to eat like one granola bar. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like just be a little bit more excited about the food. Like, enjoy it a little bit more. Okay, I hope that helps somebody out there because that practice has really, really helped me. Number 3, write a list of beliefs you have around food. Are these serving you? So when it comes to these beliefs we have around food, people who are able to eat whatever they want, whenever they want, and not gain weight or not significantly destroy their health, these people don't really have a radar for feeling guilty, feeling extreme guilt, feeling like this food is so, so, so bad, Whereas people who do have this radar and who are like up in their heads about these things are probably going to end up a little bit more unhealthy, which is really, really interesting. It's the opposite of what you would think, yeah? So there's a scale with this. It is really, really important to be mindful, of course, of getting in foods that we need and noticing that these limiting beliefs that we have around food, are they serving us? And I want to tell you a story. So I have a friend who is a fitness influencer, and she knows a lot of stuff, and we're constantly bombarded with go keto, paleo, vegan, like be sure to intermittent fast, do a water fast, like eat one meal a day. Like there's all of these marketing and articles and things bombarded on us that can make it impossible to make a choice and feel really, really good about it. Okay. So as a dietitian, I get that probably more than anyone. I get that overwhelm and frustration around feeling good about making a choice, because in my head is a running list of why this muffin is going to make me sick, why this muffin is not gluten-free enough, it's not organic enough, it's not cooked low heat enough, blah, 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 blah. And this is actually counterproductive, because I want to tell you about my friend. Wow, I'm going off on a tangent. My friend, who's a fitness influencer, she'll eat like a little bit of gluten and instantly be so sick for like days. She's like, I had gluten, I'm so sick, and she just like gets so, like, I really feel like her mind creates it. I feel like with these things, like she'll like eat even like an apple or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so bloated. I ate too much sugar." And did you eat too much sugar? Are you really allergic to gluten, or are you just creating that with your mind based on these limiting beliefs around these foods? Okay, so ask yourself that. Are you honestly 100%? Is it real that you are getting sick from these foods? Are these foods really making you gain weight? Are these particular foods, which is not the case, because in actuality it's calories in, calories out. You can lose weight on Twinkies if you eat less calories, like, you know what I mean? So I think it's important to keep in mind that we have beliefs around food before we eat them, and make sure that we're aware of these beliefs and that they're not running the show. Make sure that we have a broader perspective of what's going on. I think it's a lot more healthy to, like, for example, if you're at an airport or if you're traveling and there's not many options, instead of beating yourself up about eating a granola bar and just being like, oh, this granola bar is so processed, blah, 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 blah. This is my past self talking. Now I take the granola bar and I say, wow, thank you. I'm so grateful that I get to eat this granola bar. It's going to nourish me so well, and move on with my life. Like, I think it's much more healthy to move on than to have these limiting beliefs just take over us. That's huge. This is huge, 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 huge. Like, I would even write a list of possible limiting beliefs that you have around food and whether or not they're serving you. Like, even little things like it's necessary to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, is that a belief that's serving you? Is that true for you? Or are you not even hungry in the morning? You're just forcing yourself to eat because someone led you to believe that that was necessary. And once we notice these beliefs, we can start noticing how we feel, and we can create our own agenda. So yeah, that's huge. Number 4, let yourself escape. So when it comes to like letting yourself escape, this is really just, I'm going to tell you a story about Katie sitting in an algebra class doing my algebra homework. I do not like math. I would much rather do so many other things besides algebra, okay? And sitting down to do my algebra homework, for me to escape, I would just like sweet potato fries, any kind of snack. Like, I would just need to eat something while I studied for a final, while I did my homework, because I could not stand. I was so uncomfortable. I just wanted to escape, that I would just like, and I would be overwhelmed, I just wanted some kind of comfort. And I challenge you, and I wonder what would have happened. I feel like I probably would have ended up doing what I'm doing now still. Like, think about, is what you're doing truly, truly in alignment with who you are and what you want to do with your life and who you want to be? And I wish that I had a broader perspective in college and I was able to meditate, or I was taught meditation before, or visualization exercises, because if I had my meditation practice now has helped me so, so, so much. And if I was able to really like take a deep breath and think about how me getting my math homework done is really in alignment with what I'm doing, it may have really helped me a lot. But when I say let yourself escape, this is gonna shake some people up a little bit. I really firmly believe, like, when we are doing what we want to do, or if what if we're doing something that we don't, even when I'm doing something that I don't want to do, if it's still on the path of who I want to be, what I want to create, and how I want to feel later, it's like you're not trying to escape. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And I basically, what I'm saying is that instead of escaping with food, just quit your job. That's what I'm saying, all right? If you're constantly like binging out on food, trying to escape your life, something's got to change. You are not a tree. You are not attached to the ground. You are a human being that's able to get up, make changes, and do something different with yourself and with your life. So thank God algebra ended and I stopped binging on sweet potato fries every day. Otherwise, I'd probably be 700 pounds right now. If I had to do algebra every day for the rest of my life, like, that would not work out. No bueno. And thinking about what are we escaping from, let's really take a step back, because sometimes I still feel this feeling like, oh, I just want to escape right now. Usually when it's in a high pressure situation, maybe I'm on a deadline, or it just seems like a very uncomfortable situation. I invite you to make a list and think of ways to escape, and think of things that bring you comfort and ways to handle that stress in other ways. So for me, it's really, and this is going to sound funny, but honestly, like, cleaning has allowed me to feel a lot less stress and a lot less angsty to want to overeat. Even like putting on calming music, calling a friend, doing some kind of a face mask, any kind of self-love situation, anything to help you feel more calm, stepping outside, taking a deep breath, literally just sitting in my seat, taking a deep breath helps a lot. So I challenge you, is there anything that you can escape from? Is there anything that you can make a change from that's preventing you from being intuitive with your eating? Okay. So let me know what questions you have around that. That was pretty intense, that one. Lastly, or this is not lastly, we're halfway there. Number 5, restriction leads to binge. So people think that the binging is the problem when often the restriction is the problem. And people will, at night, I have a lot of clients in the past, and I just finished up with a client who, eating nothing but broccoli all day and then wondering why they're binging at night. It's like, you're hungry. You are a hungry person. You still need to eat enough food. Like, you gotta eat enough throughout the day. And this binge, maybe it's not a binge. Maybe you're just eating. Maybe you just are hungry and your body needs that food. That is totally possible. And restriction of any kind, whether it be accidentally restricting calories, like you didn't even know, you just forgot to eat, whatever, that's going to lead to a binge probably later in the day. Maybe it's weeks later, maybe it's months later. It's probably going to lead to your body, like, eventually needing to catch up on some nutrients. And or whether that be intentional. So maybe you're like going to a party and you're like, I'm not going to eat those cupcakes. I want them, but I'm restricting myself from them. That is like complete, like, you are intentionally restricting. And that is the precursor to a binge situation. So if you want a cookie, like, if you don't want it, that's cool too. Like, sometimes I go to a party and I'm like, not feeling it, whatever. But if you do want a cookie or whatever it is, just like allowing yourself to eat that and not being all all up in your head about it is gonna be the best option for sure. And when you do eat it, instead of being all over the place. Oh, okay, two things here. If you're at a party, I highly recommend that you focus on the people. You focus on making connections, having fun, doing the activities, looking good, mingling, doing the whole thing, having some snacks here and there. Don't focus on the food. The food is not a big deal. Like, whatever, sure, have some little things here and there, but let's not be all up in our head about the food. However, if you are like alone in your kitchen, for example, and you really want this thing in the cupboard and you like can't stop thinking about it, I invite you to let yourself eat it. However, instead of like grabbing it and then scurrying in front of your computer and eating it all distracted, I invite you to eat it really mindfully. Like I said at the beginning of this video, are you enjoying your food enough? People think they're enjoying food too much because they can't stop thinking about food, but the reality is that you're not fully present with it and you don't even notice that it even happened, okay? So I highly suggest that you let yourself eat the freaking food and actually fully enjoy it, okay? Not be like, ooh, I shouldn't do this, ooh, I want another one, but I shouldn't have one, ooh, like, because then you're just gonna end up eating the whole box and beating yourself up. So, and might be like, if you're new to this, it might be harder to wrap your head around trusting yourself with that. But I invite you to really like slow down and stick it through the end of this video, because my last tip is really going to bring it home and make all of these other things a lot easier. So fully trust that your body will make up for overeating and undereating. Yeah. So just whether you are actively restricting or accidentally, it's important to fully trust that, like, sometimes when we go out to eat or whatever, you go to someone's house, maybe you eat a meal, sometimes you didn't get enough food and you're like still hungry and you move on with your life and you're like, oh dang, I'm still hungry, whatever. Sometimes you overeat in the meal and you're like, that was really delicious, I overate, and it's like, okay, cool, no big deal. Like, trust that our bodies can make up for that variation. Okay, number 6. I already touched upon this, but make a list of comfort things and make a list of things to focus on. So since I already talked about the comfort things, and I would write as many as possible, like write at least 20 things that provide you comfort. And if you can't think of anything, like come up with something, try new things that could be comforting for you. So literally, like, maybe give yourself a massage, like, I don't know, even like scrolling through Instagram. Like, scrolling through Instagram is comforting as well. Like, I don't know, what do you like to do? Read a magazine. And then when it comes to the things to focus on, this is so essential because many of us are thinking about food so often. And, I'm the queen of this. I am the queen of this. And these have all helped me so much. So I know that they're going to help somebody out there. When it comes to like, oh no, what am I going to focus on if I'm not obsessing about food 100% of the time? There's lots of other things to focus on. Write a list of at least 20 things to get excited about. Instead of, reading your diet magazine or whatever, go read a book about astronomy. Like, go look up whatever it is. Like, there's so many other things to learn about and to think about than food that you can start exploring in this life. So write a list of other things to focus on. Maybe it's gardening, maybe it's cycling, biking, makeup, I don't know. Just be sure to like get excited. What is something else that you can get excited to focus on? Okay. And again, this at the end of this video, the last thing is gonna help a lot. And I touched upon this before as well, but I didn't really label it. So cognitive dietary restraint, CDR. This is like, so cognitive dietary restraint. So say there's two twins and they walk into a party, and at the party, first thing when you walk in is a big plate of cookies. Twin on the right is like really looking to get toned for summer and is actively restricting calories and has labeled cookies as bad foods and is not going to eat any cookies. And twin on the left, who looks exactly the same as twin on the right, doesn't really think about her body and doesn't really care and is just here to enjoy the party. So twin on the I forget. I feel like I'm messed up because I'm like mirroring you guys. Basically, the twin who's looking to lose weight is like, I'm not gonna eat a cookie. I'm not gonna eat a cookie. Those cookies smell and look really good, but I'm not gonna eat one. I'm really trying to lose weight here. I want to like be ripped for summer, and is super up in her head about it all night, and is kind of hungry all night, and like still wants a cookie, but is still fighting herself about it, and is feeling really insecure. Whereas the other twin walks in the party and is like, oh, sweet, cookies, and grabs one and is like, wow, these cookies are so good, amazing, awesome, and it goes about her life and has a great time at the party. Who do you think is healthier? Which of these twins do you think it has a more holistically healthy life long term? Which one of these twins do you think is going to be able to have a better relationship with food long term? So the one who's looking to lose weight ended up eating like way more cookies later on in the night because she just gave up and gave in and like didn't even enjoy them, was just like super all up in her head and just like was fighting herself, trying to stuff herself in this little perfect box and like totally swung the other way. Whereas the other girl who like didn't really think too much about it and was like, sweet, a cookie, enjoyed a cookie and moved on with her life and was able to have fun with people at the party. So the girl who was really actively restricting, she has high CDR, high cognitive dietary restraint. And thinking about this, where do you fall on the spectrum? How high or how low is your cognitive dietary restraint? And I invite you to notice that and release that dietary restraint and just recognize that this is not serving you. Okay? Okay, to trust we must, okay, thoughts are distractions too. I already mentioned this at the beginning when it comes to fully enjoying your food more, but I'm going to say it again because this is so necessary. Thoughts are distractions too. And not only are they distractions, but they can either serve us and help us and encourage us and support us, or our thoughts can beat us up and our thoughts can put us down. Our thoughts, our own inner mind can be our best friend or our worst enemy. And when it comes to eating any kind of food, be sure to treat yourself like you would your own child. Like you would if you had a child. Would you be beating them up all the time? Would you, or your best friend, would you be telling them that they don't look good, they should stop eating that, and that that's a bad food and smack them? Like, no. You would be like, at least personally, if I had a daughter, I would be like, of course you can have a cookie. Like, of course. Like, I'm going to provide you nourishing foods most of the time and provide you, like, of course, you know? So let's treat ourselves that way. Let's treat ourselves like we would a loved one. Isn't it interesting how like we beat ourselves up, but we're so nice to everyone else? Like, how would your best friend treat you? What would your best friend say to you in that moment? So really come at it from that perspective of a best friend. Let's start being friends with ourselves. Let's accept ourselves right now. Let's start having compassion for ourselves. And then we can truly, truly start to really fully love ourselves, okay? But it first starts with accepting and forgiving ourselves for wherever we're at. So maybe writing ourselves a letter like, dear me, I forgive you for, I accept you for, I acknowledge you for, and I love you for ... Like, please, like, journaling is so the best. Journaling's the best. All right. Lastly, have a vision of yourself. So this is the most powerful thing out of all of the things I've mentioned. I've practiced visualization meditations, and I don't know how the heck else I ended up in Venice, California. Like, visualizations are powerful. Any athlete, any successful person had a vision before it came into fruition, whatever they wanted to do. I can officially do 5 pull-ups. I had to imagine myself doing 5 pull-ups before I could do the 5 pull-ups. So with this, I have an affirmation for myself And our mind doesn't know, blah, blah, I'm getting ahead of myself. So picture this. Picture it's a hot summer day and you have this lemon wedge and you're biting into this sour lemon wedge and it's just like the sourness is just oozing into your mouth and you can taste the sourness of the lemon juice and it's refreshing and sour at the same time. Just saying that and just having that visualization, I started salivating a little bit more. Did anybody else start salivating? Like you notice, like thinking about biting into a lemon, just visualizing your mouth biting into a lemon, and our mouths will start to salivate more. So, you know, if anybody has ever, any man out there has ever had a wet dream, like obviously our physiology can't tell the difference between what we're actually seeing and what we're thinking about. So maybe if we think about something really scary happening or we're having anxiety about the future or visualizing these things happening, our heart can start to race, our hands can start to sweat. We'll get high blood pressure literally from the anxiety of what's going off in our minds, not what's actually happening right now. So this visualization practice is so potent because it does change our physiology. And I invite you to be open-minded with what I'm saying too. Like just the idea that, you know, oxygen, we can go a few days without water, but we can only go a few minutes without oxygen. And oxygen is invisible. We can't even see it. So thinking that there's nothing around us affecting us that we can't see is ridiculous. And I think that our bodies we are energetic beings, and there's more to our health and the situation that meets the eye. Just like our breath is literally like so important and we can't even see it. So this visualization practice, I really just invite you to close your eyes right now and think about what it feels like. What does it look like for you to feel really good around food, for you to fully trust yourself? And for me, it looks like this. I think to myself, wow, I'm so happy and grateful that I am all dressed up, going out with my friends, dancing, feeling really free, and just feeling like a really sexy 25-year-old woman, really confident woman. I have this vision of myself, and I'm able to go wherever and order whatever I want and go to parties and have a little bit here and there. I'm able to take a deep breath with the projects I'm working on and have other ways to cope with stress and cope with overwhelm. That vision is very clear for me. And I invite you to have a very clear vision of your body, of how that feels. Because once we start to tap into how that feels to be confident around food, then we are going to draw that feeling to us. Like it's amazing how the more we visualize it and the more we focus on that, then when we reach for those cookies or we think we want those cookies, remind yourself of that vision, guard your focus, because we can truly choose what it is we're focusing on at any time. We can come from a broader perspective and decide to think about a higher vision of ourselves. And this is a practice. This doesn't happen overnight. But when you're like late at night looking to just like eat whatever, if you all of a sudden start thinking about this higher vision you have of yourself, you'll see that it's out of alignment with that feeling. It's out of alignment with that vision. And you'll probably put back whatever it is you were going to eat, or you probably won't eat the whole thing at least. So, yeah, and you'll start to really bring that vision into fruition. The more that what you focus on, you bring upon. Where focus goes, energy flows. Those are two nice, easy ways to put it. And yeah, I seriously like have benefited so much. If there's anything that you get from this video, it's noticing what is it that you're focusing on throughout the day. What thoughts take up your headspace most of the day? And if these thoughts are consuming around food and your body and your image, I really hope that you do reach out to me. This is a video that's meant for you to allow you to feel really confident and excited and free around food, okay? This is meant for you to enjoy food more and practice taking a deep breath and having gratitude for the soil, the sun, the rain, every single person that made it possible, all of the packaging, all the shipping, the traveling, the preparing to get whatever food you're eating to your plate and have I feel like food, the enjoyment of food, the preparing of food, I feel like it's been exploited. I feel like people don't realize what a sacred act eating is. It is so sacred. It's only literally the very tangible material that makes up who we are, that makes up our physical beings. Food is life. Food is energy. Food is who we are. And I think it's important to enjoy it, to embrace it, all of it, and, just notice, yeah, this is sacred. Put a hand on our bellies and think, what do I want? What does my sacred, incredible, brilliant being want? How does it feel? And start undoing those limiting beliefs we have around food and really, really take a step back. So if this video helped you in any way, I would love for you to comment and let me know how it helped you. If you have not joined the Superhero Crew Facebook group, this Facebook group is a community for people to come together to take action every single week to make themselves better, to make the world better. And this week, my challenge for you is to incorporate one of the practices that I mentioned in this video. So whether that be journaling, whether that be really taking a deep breath and savoring your food more, make sure to do that at least once a day with your food every day this week. So, sometimes maybe we're on the go, we're in a rush, and it's not possible to eat super mindfully. It's going to be nice to practice just starting to flex these muscles and to use these practices. So give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought, and let me know your suggestions for future videos. And yeah, the next week's video I'm really, really excited about. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. And don't forget to download my ebook at vitaminkatie.com. I hope you have a really great weekend. You are incredible. I acknowledge you right now. Thank you for caring about your health. Thank you for caring about the environment. And thank you for spending some of your Saturday with me, or whatever day it is now, whatever you're watching it. Have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you in the Superhero Crew Facebook group. Bye.